What's going on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram? I am Rhashad J. Wilson. A I just graduated. I am an alumnus of the illustrious Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, October 3rd, 1887. What? But I am from Jacksonville, Florida. Born and raised, Duval County, Duval. Yes, sir. But yeah, born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida. But I just wanted to share my story with you. A lot of people throughout the years have known some of my story, have experienced my story, but I just wanted to share my story with you. Hopefully, you can identify it. Hopefully, just being able to hear, how far God has brought me. Just how I was able to change and grow as an individual, as a man. That it can inspire you to grow as well. So again, I was born in Jacksonville, Florida, born and raised. I grew up I was raised in a predominantly Christian household, quote unquote. Like most people can say, or at least a lot of people can say, they were raised in a Christian household. I'm Haitian. Haïtien, ça passe, na boule. But I'm Haitian, and I mean, yeah, like I said, I grew up. I went to public school. In fourth grade, started going to my church's private school. But really, my story really begins around the age of 9 or 10 when I was first exposed to pornography. So I remember, my dad, he had a little flip phone, how we had back in the day. And my dad used to have, different basketball wallpapers because I'm a, huge basketball fan. So he had different, basketball wallpapers and different games on his phone. So one day, right before we went to the movies, he had given me his phone like any other time. And I was sitting on the couch while he went to go change or do something. And I was flipping through his phone, right? And I was just looking at some of the pictures. Okay, he had this team, he had that team. But I flipped past this one picture, and it was a naked woman. And that was something I had never seen before. So I saw one picture, then flipped again and saw another picture, and then flipped again and saw another picture. And so really that was a start to something really destructive in my life. I really had a hard time dealing with porn throughout the years, whether it was porn and masturbating. This is gonna get a little graphic, so this might not be for younger folks, but this is something that younger folks is dealing with. So really, it's although it may be viewer discretion advised, this is something that a lot of young people are dealing with too. So like I said, it just created a toxic cycle of watching porn and masturbating. My grandparents, they used to have the Comcast on demand where you could go, you go on demand and you could pick up, whatever movie, video that you wanted to watch. And I remember, the first time I went to on demand and went to, the little HBO section and was watching like Real Sex or watching the little Bunny Ranch or whatever kind of shows, and just being exposed to that really started to create that seed of lust in my heart. It really took a toll on me, throughout the years, because I remember it didn't start off as actually watching porn videos. It started with seeing those pictures, and I remember like really any chance I got, I would go watch, porn on people's computer, or not go watch porn, but go look at the, pornographic pictures on people's computer. Really, it started off, after those pictures, I was really big into anime. So I started, looking at hentai photos. And if you don't know what hentai is the anime, anime porn. And I was getting into that stuff. And I remember the first time I actually saw a pornographic video, I was at home on my, family computer at home. And, my dad used to download music and download videos for us, just as normal. A little bug tried to get me. He used to download videos and music as normal. And then one time in particular, I went on the computer and I clicked on this video, double tap, and I saw this porn video. And it blew my mind because at the time, I don't really want to express what I saw, but it was two women doing things that God didn't create two women to do. And I was just like, it really kind of blew my mind, because here I am, I might have been like 11, 12 at the time, and I'm seeing things that my eyes have never seen before and should have never seen. And honestly, not to sit there and bash my dad, but this was because of my dad. This was an influence that a door he opened up. And, it wasn't until many years later he didn't even, begin to understand the type of ramifications it had on my life. So going from there, like I said, I started watching videos on demand, trying to, like I said, every chance I got, I was trying to watch porn. I lost my virginity the summer before my freshman year of high school. And even that in itself, like, I remember afterwards, like, I felt like I started crying, because I was supposed to actually be in church that night. Had I went to church, I wouldn't have even that wouldn't have happened. But the girl I was dating, she was having a little going away party, and after that ended up happening. Fast forward, let's see. In school, I was I wasn't really attractive. I grew up, I was fat, and so I never really was one that was desired until now. You know what I'm saying? Only one desires me is my baby. Shout out my fiance. But I was never really desired like that growing up. I remember, sitting in the back of the bus, with the basketball team, pretending like I'm on the phone talking to a girl, just out of wanting to be accepted. Which is tough, man. Man, what else? Watching porn, wanting to be accepted, not really being liked by girls, or the dudes, in general, just trying to fit in. And, I'm saying, the dudes picking on me or not really liking me, telling me I'm lame, this, that, and the third. I never really fit in. So coming to high school, I remember, like, I'm still watching porn. And one of the biggest problems that happened just in my younger years, even before I got to Tallahassee, was the fact that I'm in high school, and because I'm masturbating so much, I can't even get hard, and that's a problem. People don't understand the consequences of pornography, or understand the consequences that masturbating plus pornography creates. Watching porn creates different neural pathways in your brain, which like alter the way that your brain is structured. Your brain is, when you have sex, you're supposed to be having sex between, God created sex to be between a husband and a wife. It's not supposed to be between all these different people. I'm not supposed to be self-pleasuring myself. And so, they say porn has the same effects that cocaine has on your brain. And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't care. We just want that instant gratification. Let me get this off, and then I'm good. I go about my day. But we don't understand the lasting effects that it causes. And so that was that. Like I said, I'm in high school, and it's times where I can't even get hard because I'm masturbating and watching porn so much, and it's having that effect on my body. So fast forward from Jacksonville, I came to Tallahassee. I started FAMU summer 2014. What? You just graduated and you started in summer 2014? Yes, man, that was a journey. So I started summer 2014, man, and like I said, I came from Jacksonville. I wasn't really too considered cool. I wasn't really, all that, to coming to Tallahassee and really becoming somebody completely different. I had the blessing to connect with some really dope people. Shout out my boy Perry. And, just really learning a lot from him, learning how to, dress, and, like I said, just really becoming somebody that I wasn't, but somebody that I always wanted to be. I always wanted to be a cool guy. And so coming to Tallahassee and being able to, I guess, recreate yourself or just become somebody new was something I looked forward to. And so I started at FAMU summer of 2014. I did okay. I got all B's, had a 3.0 that semester. My very next semester, fall 2014, the first fall, homecoming, you got everybody coming to Tallahassee, and it was crazy. It was crazy, man. I did way more partying than going to class. But the thing was, I went to class, I just didn't do my work. So I ended up that semester failing. I got 3 Fs and a withdrawal fail. So my GPA went from a 3.0, I want to say, to a 1.6. And that was tough. I remember so many times, like, sitting in my dorm room or going to parties and stuff, and I knew I had assignments due, but I didn't want to do that. I'd rather have, been with the girls, because, that semester, I really lost myself. Over that first summer, I had one instance with one young lady who, we were kind of kicking it or whatever. But that fall, I really lost myself. Like, that's really where I started to become somebody different. I started to become a hoe. I was in Jacksonville. I had sex with a few people. But when I got to Tallahassee, and especially when that first fall came, things became different. I remember, and this is not to boast or brag, I remember literally where I took like 4 girls' virginity in 1 week. Like, we were literally like moving people in and out. Like, it was just clockwork. Like, that was something I wasn't used to, but that was something that, quote unquote, every guy dreams of. And again, that's not cool, bro. Like, we don't understand how we're not only downing ourselves, but we're downing other people. Like, how would we feel if this was our sister, if this was our mother, if this was our sister, mother, cousin? You know what I'm saying? That somebody else was doing that too. But yeah, man. So like I said, it became a toxic cycle. That spring, I ended up getting into a relationship with a young lady. And it's so crazy how even certain situations work, or situationships, because when I talk about this relationship, I don't mean to, degrade her. I don't mean to disrespect her. I don't mean to bash her or nothing like that. I'm just sharing truth, and this is what it is. So she said to me, one of the only reasons she got into a relationship with me is because, I did to her what other dudes couldn't. And I didn't really even understand the weight of that until years later. But so I ended up getting a relationship that next spring 2015. And everything was okay, whatever. I was in that relationship for 3 years, but just throughout that relationship, it was just toxic. Like, I didn't know myself. And so going through, she was starting to become popular. And even as me and my previous friend group, fell out, I really didn't have a place of my own. I really didn't have an identity. And so I really started to develop an identity as her boyfriend. And so, that started to show in different ways, where I was, seeking attention from her, or I would say crazy things or do this or do that just to try to get attention, because I didn't feel like I was getting attention from her. I didn't really feel like, she cared or whatever. I felt like she was trying to do her own thing and I was trying to do my own thing. And so it was just a bunch of foolishness. It was just so much involved. But, in 2018, I ended up getting out of that relationship. And because I remember, even though like a lot of people knew us, like we were one of quote unquote the FAMU couples. But I remember I ended up getting out of that relationship because I knew the direction. Even though I was in the midst of all that foolishness, I knew the direction that I was trying to take my life. I knew the direction that, I started to seek God. I started to pray. And, even though, like I said, I went to church when I was in Jacksonville, when I was in Tallahassee, I didn't really go to church like that. So when I actually started to pray, started to go to church, really started to develop a relationship with God, I felt as if, for some odd reason, that he was asking me to be abstinent. Now, I want to take a pause there. People think, they don't understand the difference between celibacy and abstinence. Abstinence is, I'm waiting till marriage. Celibacy is like a lifestyle. Like, nuns are celibate. They not trying to have sex. So, like I said, God, for some reason, I just felt that. Did I know if God could talk to me? No, I didn't know that. But I just felt like God was asking me to be abstinent. So fast forward, like I said, I had been feeling God was telling me that he wanted me to be abstinent. And from there, like I said, I presented that to her, but she wasn't really for that, you know what I'm saying? So then some months went by, and I ended up trying to tell her again, like, hey, I really feel like God is, telling me he wants me to be abstinent. I don't know why, but, this is what I wanted. This is what I believe God is telling me to do, as I was seeking and trying to grow my relationship with God. And then she was just like, at first she was like, okay, I'm on board. This is what you feel like God's telling you to do. Okay, cool. But the thing about it was, she wasn't necessarily a believer. She wasn't a believer, but, she supported me. She said, okay, you may, think this is what God's telling you to do. So, I may not like it, but I'm with it. And a lot of times we do that, you know what I'm saying? Like we you know, we may be down for something or we may not be down for something, but because it's our significant other, you know what I'm saying, we do whatever. So a little while later, you know, she ended up starting to act funny. And then it got to the point where she had to let me know, like, look, you know, I get this is what you want to do, but I don't want to do that. And the problem with her was, you know, she had been through her own trauma in her life. She had been through, you know, toxic relationships. She had been through abusive relationships. And so she was using, you know, sex with me as something to heal her. She was honestly putting me in a place that I didn't need to be. You know, and it's crazy that, you know, you really don't realize until, you know, later on, the effects that things that you do, the experiences that you have can have on you. So, like I said, she wanted to continue to have sex with me, but I truly believe that for whatever reason, God wanted me to be abstinent. So I came to really a crossroads where I was like, okay, either I'm gonna, you know, continue to have sex with her, or, you know, I'm gonna follow what I believe God is telling me to do. And I had to make the tough decision, and I had to break off that relationship. So, is that a raccoon? That's a cat. What the heck?
Cut. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so I got out of that relationship, and like towards the end of that relationship, this is 2018 now, I started to, you know, I'm at FAMU. I really didn't even talk about my school. So to bring you up to date with my school, so like I said, that was the relationship that I was in. So like I said, I ended up doing trash at FAMU. I ended up leaving FAMU after the fall 2016 semester. Spring 2017, I wasn't in school. I took that semester off. You know, my family, my parents, they weren't happy. They stopped supporting me financially, and so I was really struggling at that time. I had never really struggled financially before, but at this point in time, I really started to struggle. At the time, I was working at Route 21 in the mall. And Route 21 wasn't cutting it. I was making like $8.05 an hour. I think I got a raise, ended up making 5 cents more, $8.10, and that definitely wasn't cutting it. So I was just like, man, God, you know, I need something else. Something got to shake. And, you know, by the grace of God, I ended up getting blessed with a job at Whole Foods Market. They were paying $11.50, and so I went from not being able to pay my rent to being able to pay my rent and do whatever I need to do. So I ended up getting a job at Whole Foods by the grace of God, and I went from not being able to pay my rent and my bills to being able to pay more than my rent and my bills. And, you know, I thought life was good at that point. So then I remember that summer I ended up starting at TCC. I was doing trash at FAM, but I knew if I left FAM, went to TCC, graduated, and came back, my GPA would start over. So went to TCC. I did phenomenally while I was at TCC. I think I got a 4.0 3 times out of my 4 semesters at TCC, and so I did phenomenally at TCC. You know, my life really started, I felt like, to head in the right direction. I was focused. You know, I was really trying to entertain, you know, different things, like going to the club and drinking and partying, this, that, and the third. I was really starting to listen to, you know, different motivational, inspirational stuff, listening to men who were in the place that I wanted to be. And really learning from them. So 2018 came. I started to pursue a fraternity on campus. I knew that I was going to be going back to FAMU soon, and I really wanted to join a fraternity. And I wanted to join a fraternity that I wanted to join since I got to FAMU, and that was Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. A lot of people, they may not like this. You know, they may not like this, but like I said, I'm gonna keep it a buck. So I started pursuing Omega. There was a couple people that I knew. You know, one of mine, a pretty good friend of mine, who had joined the organization recently, and there was one I was working out at a gym, and there was one, you know, that I was pretty good friends with or whatever, because he was also a member of one of my former organizations, and so I started to connect with them. I built genuine friendship with them over time, and like I said, I expressed interest to the both of them. So they started putting me in contact with different people that were part of their organization. So I started to get to know them, get to know the different members of the organization, started to learn different aspects, different information of their organization. And I remember around, let's say, Marchish of 2018, that's when, for some reason I started to get this unsettled feeling in in my spirit, to be honest. And I brought it to, one of my guys, and I was just like, hey, bro, I'm trying to grow my relationship with God. I'm trying to be the man that God wants me to be. But for some reason, like, I don't know if this organization will, have a negative effect on that. And he was like, bro, to be honest, what that sounds like to me is that you're not a man, because that's the first cardinal principle of what makes high five is manhood. And so I was like, okay, like, you're right, you're right. And then another thing that he brought to me is, a lot of people don't know, they won't tell you, but Omega Psi Phi is founded on biblical principles. And when he got, when he said that, I was like, dang, bro, like, yeah. So, I didn't even think really much more than that. Like, I didn't think about, okay, what biblical principles are they founded on? Like, I didn't think about any of that. This was something that I wanted, and so this was something that I continued to go after. And months down the line, I started feeling the same feeling again. And so I went to my other homeboy. I said, bro, I'm trying to, grow my relationship with God. I'm trying to be the man that God wants me to be. What do you think about that? Like, I don't really think that this is going to help me with that. And he was like, bro, you think this thing holy, bro? Ain't nothing about this thing holy. You know what I'm saying? What do? We sit, we jump around, we drink, we do this with girls, You think this thing is holy, bro? And I was just like, he kept it G. And I was just like, dang, Like, he gave me a pretty direct answer. And I was just like, okay. And at that moment, I had a decision to make. This man is giving me a clear-cut answer. Like, do you see what they do? You see what they represent. You know what God is for. You can read the Bible. You see what God represents. Do you think the two can coincide with each other? But again, that's what I wanted. So that's what I went after. So yeah, man, I appreciate, bro, for keeping it a buck with me. But after he told me what he did, or after he told me what he told me, I really had a decision to make. Was I going to do what I believe God was telling me to do, or was I going to do what I wanted? And so, getting back to, my overall story, I just really continue on, just to really spiral out of control, even in that relationship. I was never really one to have unprotected sex. But I remember, like, at this point in time, like I said, I started to spiral out of control, and I started to have, unprotected sex with this girl, unprotected sex with this girl, and, I found myself, like I said, going on a downward spiral. So I remember one big part of my story was this was around August of 2018. 2018 was a big year for me. That's really where, I gave my life to the Lord. But August of 2018, so, this was the beginning, I think this was like graduation weekend for summer 2018. And I had a girl, that I had been really good friends with. And we were kind of talking, kind of involved with each other. But she wasn't in Tally. And so she was coming to Tally, it was her birthday weekend. She, wanted to see me. And so she was staying with me for the weekend. And so I knew we were, I was supposed to be going to Top Flight. She wasn't going to Top Flight. She was just staying at my house that night. So I took her car. And I ended up taking her car. And while I was at Top Flight, there was another girl that I knew. And she was just like, you mine tonight. She's like, ugh. She's like, you mine tonight, right? And I was just like, bet. And so I ended up having sex with this girl at Top Flight in the other girl's car. And so, like, while we're having sex, she's telling me, oh, Shad, I love you. Like, I don't want you to leave me. And, like, I want to be with you, blah, 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 blah. And, like, literally, in that moment, I really believed that. I felt like God was showing me my worth. Like, just hearing her tell me that she loves me, that she doesn't want me to leave her. I'm just like, bro, no, you don't. Like, what are you talking about? And so, like I said, I felt like in that moment, God was showing me, like, man, like, I'm worth more than this. I'm worth more than just this one moment. I'm worth more than just what she's talking about. And, you are too. So, yeah, I really feel like, people can identify with that, because a lot of times, we in these situationships, or we in these entanglements, and we think, that it's more than just this, or we don't understand, like, we're lessening our worth by giving ourselves, to somebody that really doesn't love us or care for us. But going from there, like I said, I really believe that God was using that to start to show me myself. And so, that later on that year, And that was with the same girl. I was dealing with her and another girl, and at that time I was having unprotected sex with both of them. And these two individual girls, not at the same time or nothing like that, but I was having two, sexual relationships with these girls. And I remember, like, after that weekend was over, it was like a Monday, going to class or whatever. I woke up and I felt like I had discharged for whatever reason. And bro, when I saw it, bro, like, I dropped to my knees, bro, and I started bawling because I knew that God had been telling me that he wanted me to be abstinent, but I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And that's what a lot of us want. We want to do what we want to do. Okay, God, I hear you. I know what you're talking about. Like, I know what your words say, but I want to do what I want to do. And like I said, I found myself literally hitting rock bottom. And I started being in the worst pain of my life. Like, literally, it felt like I was being stabbed. And I was just like, bro, like, something, like, I just realized, like, this whole time I've been in Tallahassee, I've been pretty much tricking off. I've been doing this, that, and the third. Like, bro, what am I doing with my life? And so I went to FAMU clinic. I got tested. The test results came back negative. I went to my primary care physician, who is phenomenal, by the way. If you need a doctor, Marlisha Edwards, she is the one. Quick plug. But I went to her, got tested, results came back negative. I said, okay, there's a problem, because if you knew the pain that I was in, and if you saw what I saw, you would know there's a problem. Whatever the most extensive test that y'all got, I need that ASAP, because it's a problem. Houston, it's a problem. So, like I said, they gave me the most extensive test possible. Thank God for insurance. They gave me the most extensive test possible, and they both came back negative. So when they came back negative, I was just like, okay. I knew God had healed me. I knew, because I remember I was on my knees, and I was like, Lord, if you take this away from me, I promise I'm done. I'm done with the club. I'm done with these women. I'm done. I'm done with the music. I'm done with the lifestyle. I'm done. And so he did a miracle. Like, literally, nobody can tell me. Like, I've literally experienced a miracle in my life, because to this day, I never had anything, and I never will have anything. But I knew that God had healed me, and so I was just like, okay, now God healed me, so now what am I gonna do? And so I made the decision. October 28, 2018. It was somewhere really around there, but I can't pinpoint the exact day. But that's the day I'm gonna go with. October 28, 2018 was the day that I surrendered my life to Jesus. Was the day that I literally said, whether it's sex, the club, the music, the cussing, just the whole 9 yards, that life, I said, the frat, everything. I said, I'm not going back, and I'm done. I gave it all to Jesus, and literally, like, porn, masturbating, all that. And it's literally like, it's only by the grace of God. I know sometimes people, with things that they've struggled with, they've had a tendency to go back to. By the grace of God, I'm 2 years strong, 2 years plus strong, and I have not gone back. I have not watched porn since the last day that I watched porn, 2018. I have not masturbated since the last day I masturbated, 2018. I have not had sex. And it's not me. Like, can't nobody sit here and tell me that it was me. It was not me. It was because of Jesus Christ. And so, that was really big. And so, man, that's my story, bro. I'm continuing to walk with God. I'm continuing to try to be who He's called me and created me to be, man. And so I just hope that whoever is listening to this, that one, hopefully through my rambling and through my carrying on, that you found something that you can identify with, that you found something that, like, dang, bro, that's kind of real. Because a lot of people, they sit here and they look at me now, and they can't see me for who I used to be. People know that I was lit in Top Flight. Like, people know I was in Top Flight every week. You know what I'm saying? I had my Hennessy and lemonade. Like, I was in Play or in Taboo or in Coliseum, you know what I'm saying, with my Douce. I had to remember to drink because it's been so dang long. Like, I was really about that life, bro. I had the bottles. People know on my Snapchat back when I was in PBM, bro, like, I had the bottles, bro. So, they see me back in the day, and, they see my life now, and a lot of people forget. But in a sense, I did become brand new because I wanted to detach myself completely from who I was. But like I said, by God's grace, you know what I'm saying, I can now share this story, even though it's like 2 years overdue. I can share this story with you. you know what I'm saying, with no fear, with no regret, you know what I'm saying, hoping that, you know, how God transformed me from being a little boy, you know what I'm saying, carrying around and really disrespecting and demeaning women, myself, and others, you know what I'm saying, to by God's grace being the man that I am now and being able to share the story with you. So, it's your boy, no, it's your man, Shad. I am Rhashad J. Wilson, and yeah, man, it's my story.